Good morning, good morning. Click like, click share. I know I'll tell you that. I have like 19 subscribers. Thank you for hanging in there. I know I got more people watching my show, but for some reason they don't want to click and um, join. You know, they want to know my business, but they haters, so they don't want me to get the evaluations. Or they trying to come and steal my ideas and stuff. I've been having for a long time. I have problems with that. People stealing ideas from me and then making it seem like it's theirs, and then when I'm trying to implement it, they cock block me. So it'll look like they came up with the idea. In fact, they didn't. Um, yeah, we're talking about Mama Smith. Oh God, that woman is so pretty, and she's an inspiration to us all older women that we can look good getting more mature, you know. And me, I be wanting to get up and put on makeup and dress up and do all that. Then I look around, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm homebound right now. Uh, I don't need anything outside. So what am I dressing up for? I know I'm supposed to, try to look my best. And I am, I do think as a woman you should, because, you're still trying to attract a mate. So you have to look your best. But that's hard work. And for me, who's not really going anywhere and doing anything, I don't see the point. But the point is for me to look my best, so just in case anybody sees me, that maybe we can try to talk or whatever. Yeah, some young guy tried to talk to me, some 27-year-old. I'm like, excuse me, I got underwear older than you, sir. I don't talk to 27-year-olds. I'm sorry, not on a romantic basis. No. I thought it was one of my ex-boyfriends, joking around, but it wasn't him. So I'm not really talking to that person, because my ex-boyfriend, he's a joker. He contacts me in all these different ways, and so I'm believing, okay, what he want now, because we broke up, but then we didn't break up, so to speak. So he contacts me every now and then. He asks for favors and stuff like that, but then he gets mad if I tell him I'm trying to date. I'm like, okay, but you and I are not dating anymore. Why are you upset that I want to go out and date and meet somebody? You didn't want me, so hey, I got to move on. So anyway, so like I said, I don't really dress up every morning and try to look my best, which I think every woman should as we get older. And I guess this is a problem that me and him have, because he's way younger than me. He's in his 40s. He's in his 40s, so he wants me to dress up and look sexy. I can do all that if I'm going somewhere. But he always at work. I barely used to see him, and you know he's in his 40s, people. Okay, so don't say younger. Okay. So anyway, this conversation is about um, when I was younger. Now my mother had me as a teenager, so when I was born, I guess my father kind of split up because my father came to America. My mother remained in Trinidad, where I'm from. So she had, I guess he was coming up here to make a better life. You know the story. Come up here to make a better life. Then he was going to ship for her, and this and that. But being apart made them go apart. So they broke up. So he got remarried. He had more kids up here while she was still down there. But she was a teenager when she had me. So when I was born, when I was a couple of months old, she gave me to my grandmother, her mother. Thank God. And me and my mother never got along um, for the entirety of my life, including now. I mean, we speak and everything, but we don't really get along. We can barely stay on the phone 10 minutes, or not even 10, 5 minutes without arguing or something. But that was the best thing my mother ever did for me um, was to send me to my grandmother's house, well, her mother's care. Because let me tell you, my grandmother on my father's side is totally way opposite than my grandmother on my mother's side. My grandmother on my mother's side, she's very caring and oh, hold up. My grandmother on my mother's side, she's very caring, she's very loving, she shows affection. She teaches you things like cooking and cleaning or whatever. Because at the age of 4, and I remember back then, at the age of 4, she put me in a crate in the kitchen and she had me watch her cooking and cleaning the meat and all that stuff. And she would give me like something, a meat, some piece of the meat to clean or whatever. Or she's making dumpling or anything, she would give me some flour, show me how to knead it, and I had to emulate her. I had to copy her. At 4, at 4. This is what I was learning at 4. Some other kids, their parents teaching them how to jump over barbed wires and but anyway, and stealing people's IDs and stuff and stealing wigs. I saw this. I saw this video, and some lady was in Walgreens, and her son and daughter, they was around, I would say, 10, 11, and she would take off the wig, off of the mannequin, rest it down, and then the little boy would have a long coat on, and he would swoop it up in his arm. This young boy, because if she stole, then, if something goes off, she's the first one they're going to look, but they're not going to be wanting to search kids. Yeah, that's back in the day. These days, yes, they search kids too. So anyway, at the age of 4, my grandmother was teaching me how to do stuff in the home, cooking, doing laundry. She would have me on a crate, again, in the laundry mat, with my cousin, and she would give my cousin whites, and she would tell my cousin, give me all the socks, give me all the socks, the white socks, because that's how she trained us, by having whites. You start cleaning whites first. So she would give me the white socks. My cousin would give me the white socks, about 2 pairs, and I would have to get them spanking clean. You would have to clean it or do it like this, and my little hands be trying to clean. I just remember that, my grandmother and my cousin. And that's how I trained, by doing whites first. And because everything in the islands is by hand. We didn't have washing machines or anything like that. So thank God my mother did that for me, because she was a teenager, and thank God she didn't give me to my father's mother, because let me tell you, I know that my father and his mother was very close, but that woman was the meanest woman I've ever met. She was so mean, at least to me. And I was young, and I remember one day my grandmother on my mother's side sent me to my grandmother on my father's side just to hang out for the day, because all the grandkids on my father's side was coming to see my grandmother. And we was all outside playing, and everybody, I think she called everybody inside to eat or something. So it was my turn to go inside, and she stopped me at the door. Now, little old me, I'm like, Grandma, can I come in? You know, something like that, I said. And she said, no, I want you to sit on the steps and wait. So I'm like, wait, everybody else is going in. So she had me wait on the steps. For what reason? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But she had me wait on the step. So happened, my cousin Curtis he was a teenager. My cousin Curtis came by because he hung out with my uncles, which was also teenagers at the time. So he dropped me off, by the way, but he went back. So he went. I think he went back home to do something. And then he came back to see my uncle, and he saw me on the stoop. And he's like, "Why you on the stoop? Where's everybody?" And I said, "Well, everybody's in the house, but Grandma told me to sit here." So he just took me home to my grandmother on my mother's side. And my grandmother was livid. She was pissed off because she couldn't understand why my grandmother would tell me to sit on the step while everybody else is in the house. You know, eating or washing their hands or whatever. So she had a few words to tell my grandmother on my father's side. And she told her, you don't have to worry about her coming here anymore because she won't. And after that, my grandmother never let me go back over to my grandmother on father's side because she was very mean to me. For what reason, I don't know. And after that, I never liked that woman. I'm sorry, Daddy, but I didn't like your mother. I didn't want to tell you at the funeral because she was having a nervous breakdown when she passed and everything. But she was mean. She was very mean. Every time I saw her, even after that, she's always yelling and cursing people out and something similar to me now, right? No, I'm just joking. But I guess I know, right? I guess I got her temperament. But yeah, but my grandmother on my mom's side, oh my God. But me and my mother never did get along. But I held it over my mother's head that we never got along, and I never knew for what reason. I don't know if she felt guilty and she felt that I didn't like her for that. No, I still loved my mother because every Wednesday, my cousin Annie would take me to see my mom at her job. And I remember that because that's when my mother got paid. And my grandmother would tell her, go take her to see her mother and pick some money up. You know, whatever, $100, $50, whatever. My grandmother just wanted something. Because, you know, times were hard. It was just her husband working, and all the grandkids was at her house because everybody was coming to America. All her kids was coming to America, so she had all her grandkids. So it was like six of us and my grandparents and all her sons and daughters was up in America, you know. So she went to my uncle, which is her son, wasn't up in America, but my cousin's mother was here, but my uncle took my uncle took his son from his mother, and then he gave my grandmother to watch my cousin because she got remarried, and you know, um, the new husband didn't like it. Something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, my uncle took his son. He lived with him for a while. Then he wanted to come to America. And my cousin ended up living with me. And the same thing with my other two cousins. And my other two cousins' mom came up here, which is my grandmother's child. All her kids was one by one coming to America. Meanwhile, every time she went on vacation, she ended up in Canada. So I don't know how we ended up in New York. I don't know. We were supposed to be Canadians. Cause yeah, that's all she would say. Every time I go on vacation, she would be going to Canada. I mean, she came to New York or whatever. So for the life of me, I don't know how we ended up in New York. I think when my mother came up or when my father came up, he came to New York because his family was always going to New York. So my mother followed next, and she came to New York, and that's probably how we ended up in New York. But my grandmother always went to Canada. So I was supposed to be Canadian, like I said. But yeah, I love my mom, and she taught me a lot when I came up here. And I always tried to have a relationship with her, but it never worked out. And I don't know why, but it happened. But when she had my sister, she she was a hands-on with my sister. And this is for my sister. So my sister grew up, but when my sister was young, I took care of my sister. When my sister was born, in she was born in Brownsville. My cousin was living in the same building. My cousin Annie was living in the same building. But so Annie would help me take care of my sister. When I moved, my sister was 5. We moved to Flatbush. Annie lived halfway across town. She didn't live nowhere near us. I took care of my sister. To this day, my sister gives credit to Annie, my cousin. Like I had nothing to do with it. Meanwhile, when it was time for me to go to college, I got accepted to a college out of state. And they was paying for my tuition and everything. And my mother told me no because I got to help her take care of her daughter. And my sister never acknowledged that I had part in raising her at all. My sister told me, she said, all I remember is Annie taking care of me. I told that to her father the other day. I said, your daughter don't give me credit for nothing. Like I was just I don't know if you grew up in the 70s or even if you grew up now. You're the oldest child in the house and you have siblings that's younger than you. Is your mother just going to let you stay there and not help her take care of the kids? Or is she always going to call? Or is she... my sister pretend to be smart, but she's dumb as they come. Why? Because how can you tell me I never helped take care of you when I'm in the house with you? I'm older than you. My cousin is halfway across town. She's working with her own family. So you think every day my cousin left work or where she was at to come pick you up from school? Or left work to come take you to school when my grandmother wasn't around? Because the first thing she's going to say, oh, it wasn't you, it was Grandma Elaine. But no, just remember Grandma Elaine was either working or in Trinidad for the most part. So my sister gave me no credit at all to this day. Yet still she says she's smart. I don't know if she doesn't want to give me credit because she doesn't want to have any nice things to think about me doing. Or my mother raised her to hate me. Because my mother don't like me. And I don't know why. Is it because that I have my own way of thinking? I mean, I did everything my mother told me to do. It's just that I'm a very inquisitive child. If you tell me not to do something, I'm going to try to figure out why you tell me not to do something. I'm going to follow your instruction because you're my superior. I was going to say superior officer. You're my superior, being my mom. But I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to do something in the elk. And then when I grew up, I wanted to be a dancer and sing and stuff like that. But I questioned things. So even as a child, I did it what my mother told me, but I questioned it. So I don't know if that's the reason why she don't like me, or maybe her and my father didn't get along, and she don't like me because I was born, and her and my father didn't get along. I don't know the story. I'm old now, and I still can't get the story out of her. I ask her, I ask him, straight out. They get mad when I ask them. I'm like, am I your child? And if so, what did you do to my mother? Did y'all always argue? Did y'all fight? What's the problem? Did she cheat on you? Do you think I'm not yours? And because the story is, when I was born, I was very hairy. Yeah, that's all the little, the little things that I have in me. Because my grandmother, she's half Indian and half Spanish, and my grandfather is, where he's from, I forget. And but he's one of those two. He's half Indian or half Spanish, one of them. So, and my father on his side is plain old African, wide nose, everything, big lips, everything. So maybe I look different. I mean, I ask every question there could be, embarrassing and not embarrassing. Yeah, I'm like, did you think my mom cheated on you? Do you think I'm yours? All that. I ask him, I ask my uncle, I ask my mother. They get mad. But a child want to know why her own parents don't like her. Me. Why my mother, I can't get along with my mother. Me. I mean, I wasn't a bad child. I was a straight A student. I passed all the class. I even got a couple of scholarships. I was doing something right, but I could never get an answer. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, but you're holding something over my head and I don't know what it is. So anyway, so my mother raised my sister not to like me and not to give me credit for anything. So therefore, I was living in my mother's house with a young sibling because my other siblings was with their mother on my father's side. So my mother raised me in her house with a young sibling not helping out. This is what my sister is growing up telling people. Oh, she never helped me do nothing. It was Annie. Yeah, okay. On my first job, I didn't buy you jackets and coats and clothes and nope, didn't do that. When you had to go to school and my grandmother wasn't around, it was Annie who left her house every morning and take you to school, then pick you up from school. And yup, Annie did all that. Yup. If that's what you want to think, that Rhonda had nothing to do with your rearing, the rearing of you, fine. And you a dumb bitch for thinking that. Because you have your son in the house with your daughter. And when they was the same age and you went to work, who had to help you with your son, with your daughter? Besides your husband. Your son, right? So I'm the only child in America with younger siblings. Because I did it for my other siblings when I was with my dad. I'm the only child in America who had younger siblings who lived in a house with a mean ass mother that did nothing for her younger siblings. According to my sister. Right? I'm lucky to get away with something like that in the 70s and 80s. Yep. I'm one lucky little girl. I didn't have to pitch in on nothing to do with nothing with my younger siblings. Nothing. I was just living free, according to my sister. So when she does something to me, in her mind, it's like, well, she never did nothing for me anyway. I don't have to do this for her, and I don't have to give her this back. Or I have to do this. I have to do that. That's in her mind because this is what she want to think. Just because every minute my mother's calling her to complain about me, so therefore she built up that animosity. But meanwhile, whatever she gives my mother, I give my mother the same thing. But she gives my mother on a monthly. I give my mother whenever she needs, so whenever she asks. So, say for instance, my mother, she gives my mother a lump sum. I give her in bits and pieces each week, each day, whatever. Not each day, but each week or whatever. She was like, "Oh, I need so and so. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to go this place. Oh, I give me or my son." But just because she gives in a lump sum, she wants to feel I'm better than her. I'm better than my older sister because my mother can count on the every month she gets this and she gets allotted this and when my mother wants to do something she calls me to pick out the dress or whatever. But my mother calls her, but she calls me, help me pick which dress you think, help me do this. Oh, mommy wants to go to Canada. Mommy wants to go to Trinidad. Mommy wants to go. We need to get half half. And she does that, but yet still, in her mind, I do nothing. Because my mother raised her and poisoned her to hate me. And I'm not putting it all off on my mother, but my sister's grown now. My sister should say, yeah, my sister, she's mean and stuff like that, but every time I call her, give me half of the ticket for my mother. She does it, or the dress that my mother wore, she helped me pick, or something. So all my mother's friends think it's only my sister that does stuff. Oh, you should see the looks I get when I'm around my mother and her friends. Oh yeah, that's the older one. Oh, it's a shock. She comes to a mother function. Yeah, sometimes I can't be around the hypocrisy, so I stay home. But on her most important events, I go. Yeah, because I'm the big mouth one. I'm gonna let you know how I feel. When I was younger, no, I would just look at you and cross my eyes, and I wouldn't say nothing to you. I'm like, lady, the best thing I'm doing for you is to keep my mouth shut. That's me. And they hated the standoffishness of me. So she's like, oh, she's so unfriendly. No, I see you trying to be all up in my stepdad's face, thinking that you cute and you slick. So I'm a look this way because if I have to look that way, I'm cussing you out or some bullshit or she trying to steal my jewelry. Yeah, one of her friends stole my jewelry, and I told her to her face, if I ever see you wear my jewelry, I'm beating the shit out of you. Yeah, because you're not gonna steal my shit and wear it in front of me. I'm from Brownsville. We don't play that. We don't play that. You better steal that shit and don't wear it in front of me. If I can't do it, somebody else is gonna come snatch it off you. I'm from Brownsville. I'm sorry. That's how we do. You're not gonna be cute with my shit in front of my face. Mm-mm. Yup, she stole my bracelets. My big gigantic bracelets. Yeah. Real gold. Hmm. Well, how? Because she got thrown out of her house and my mother took her in. So she tried to sleep with my stepfather and she stole my bracelet because, it's family in the house. So we used to leave all our stuff laying around. I missed my bracelet. My mother started hiding hers. I told my mother to kick her out. I just told her about the bracelet. Eventually, I told her about my stepfather, but I didn't tell her about my stepfather at that point. I said, you need to kick this woman out your house because she's foul. I said, she stole my bracelet because I can't find it. And then later on, who did I tell? Did I tell my grandmother or my mother? I told one of them. I told somebody she's trying to sleep with my stepfather. I was up in his face giggling, walking around with barely nothing in when he comes in. I'm like, bitch, put some clothes on. Don't play that shit. I was a teenager at that time, so I was hot and child. I wasn't playing that with my stepfather. Me and my stepfather was close. You're not gonna come perpetrate nothing in front. My mother let you get away with that shit, not me. Put some clothes on or get the fuck out my mother's house. I told my mother, don't invite no problems in your house. No, sorry. And my stepfather, he's thing to handle. I don't know if he ever slept with her. I don't think he ever. But my stepfather, he wasn't easy either. I'm not talking about with the friend stuff, but he would have other women. That's a different story. That's a different story. How I grew up with my stepfather. Yeah, and all his women was close like this. I tell you, them Trinidadian men's, boy, I tell you. I never dated a Trini till I was way older. Just because of what I saw him doing. Yeah, so I guess she felt that since my stepfather was you know, had not all, but had another woman that she can try her best. I'm like, no, sorry, sorry, bitch, you're not gonna do it. Not in front of me. Not to my mom. You crazy? Yep. Even though me and my mom didn't get along, I still looked out for her. You're not gonna come up in my mother's house and disrespect her like that. You be on the street, bitch. And so not so said. My grandmother told my mother kick her out because I think it was my grandmother I told. I think it was my grandmother I told. My grandmother went to her and said, "Get her out your house." My grandmother was not easy either. She did not play that because her man was scared of her. She be up here for 6 months and he would not look at another woman. You hear me? Because my grandmother, she didn't play. She's like me. You cheat on me, you're gone. That's what I tell all my boyfriends. You cheat on me, you're gone. I don't want to hear no excuses. If you think it's better over there, please, by all means, go over there. I am not stopping you. So that's how that went. And she belongs to my mom's church, so some of the hypocrites I see, I just be like, don't say nothing to me. I'll be having that face. I'm just here because of my mother's function. I'm not trying to talk to none of y'all. Yeah, because my mom is very pretty up to this day, and she's the best dressed in her clique. Yup, because me and my sister make sure she's tight when she goes anywhere with them. We don't care what we spend. My mother gotta look right, because that's how my mother's a fashion plate. She got it from my grandmother. She's a fashion plate. She gotta look good. She always try to get down on me. Oh, Rhonda, you dressing like a boy. Oh, Rhonda, you this, you know. But that's for something. Something happened to me when I was younger. So, but up to this day, my mom gotta look She gotta look good wherever she goes, makeup and all. She going to the store, she gotta look alright. That is my mother. So I'm running to the store, I'm just putting on my cap and I'm gone. You know, my mother and my sister, oh my God, they gotta put on lipstick. They gotta, oh God, I couldn't keep up. I'm like, to the store, just straight to the corner. So I'm girly girl, sorta, kinda, but not girly girl. With my house, yeah, but to be dressing up and making up, and I'm running to the store. I'm putting on the biggest jeans I got because the wind can blow off of it. Y'all don't know that, but in the wintertime when you wear tight clothes, the wind hits your body quicker. So I'm always in baggy clothes, and that helps the clothes push away the wind. So it being baggy because it don't get to hit your skin right away. Don't know that. So I used to just wear the baggy clothes and run outside real quick on my sweats. Run outside to the store real quick in the wintertime. My mother just couldn't take it, but my sister, she grew up thinking that I didn't help my mother raise her. Like I was in the house just taking up space. So if anybody in America who is an older sibling and was lucky enough like me, like my sister thing, that did not have to help her sibling. Oh, you help, but you didn't do that much. Annie used to do this, and Annie used to do. Yeah, Annie used to do it because Annie lived in a building when you was the age of newborn to 5 years old. At 5 years old, we moved from Brownsville to Flatbush, so I didn't have that much help. I had to help even when Annie was there, but when we moved to Flatbush, I did almost everything on my own. Because my grandmother was at work. Annie lived halfway in, all the way in the 50s. We live on Flatbush. She lived all the way in the 50s. Is she gonna be? And my sister is not comprehending. She just don't want to give me credit for nothing. So I'm saying, if you have a sister like that or a brother like that, tell me what you did, because I cut her off. Yup, I don't want to talk to her no more because if you think I was such a bad sister, stop asking me for stuff and stop telling people you're doing stuff for me. My sister does nothing for me. Nothing. I needed her help on several occasions and nothing. She needed my help on several occasions. I helped her. She told people I didn't help her. She said, "Oh, you're telling everybody that you did this and you did that and blah 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 blah." Everybody like who? Your best friend and thing. You spoke to them about it. I just continued the conversation. Because you're making people believe I'm the worst sister. Meanwhile, you're lying because I was there. I was there from God knows how long. And then when I had my son, she was my age when my son was born. She didn't want to help me at all. Oh, that's your son. You need to. But when my son turned a certain age that he can do stuff, oh, her and my mother, oh my God, oh, that's my grandson, oh, my grandson, oh, my nephew, my nephew, my nephew, my nephew, my son. And then they tried to turn him against me. I said, okay, that's when I really dug in because I was in college. I really needed somewhere for my son to stay because I was moving from place to place looking for a place for us to live. The place was cold. Then one person took my money, and then she told me, "Oh, you can't have no kids here." But I already gave her the money, so I had to look for another place. But it took me a while, so he had to stay with my mother. My mother told me straight up, "He can stay here, but you gonna have to take care of him." Meaning, every morning you have to come here, take him to the babysitter, pick him up. Meanwhile, I was in school. and working. So sometimes I had to call the babysitter and like, can you keep him a couple of extra hours? Because my mother meant that. I'm not taking care of your son. He can stay here. But they don't tell that story. They don't. They making it seem like, he was there. We was doing everything for him. No, I had to buy his food. I had to buy his diapers. I had to do everything. Meanwhile, his father's not helping me. And I'm playing this strong black woman thing. I didn't ask him for nothing. I didn't take him to child support court up until he was 3. When he was 3, I had to do it because I wanted to go back to school, and my salary couldn't cover everything with him. So I had to stop being that. And my mother told me, no, don't take him to, but I had to. I had no money. And I wanted my education. That's why I didn't get married at 16 to Ishmael. Because I saw my life going somewhere other than being a baby mama. Other than getting pregnant after child after child, living in the projects and or wherever, and just barely making it. I didn't want that for myself. So when I told Ishmael asked me to marry him, I was 16. I told him no. So I didn't want that for my life. So I took him to court and I got $90. Yep. He went around telling people, oh, she took me to court. Like I was getting all this money. $90 a month. And then when he started school, they gave me 150 because he was claiming broke. Meanwhile, he just bought a house and a new car. So the judge asked him, where do you live? He told him, do you live in an apartment or a house? Do you own the house? He said he owns the house. Are you married? He said yes. He said, okay, what does your wife make? Does your wife work? He said, oh, yeah. He said, okay, well, since you say you can't support your child on your own and you just bought a house, you have a brand new car, you have a good job, we're going to start looking in your wife's finances. Thank God for that judge. I didn't want him to do that, but he was sitting there lying. And I wasn't one of those baby mothers who if they see the guy with a grain of salt extra that she wanted. No, I told him the reason. I didn't even want to take him to court. I'm like, listen, I need to help. I need to pay for his school. And you know what that bastard told me? Send him to public school. That's what his father told me. Send him to public school. I said, okay, if that's your answer, my answer is take you to child support court. So the judge asked me what I need to give the bill. I'm like, listen, judge, I just want him to help me pay for the school. I don't want nothing extra. I said, that's it. I could have got more. I said, but I asked you to help me. You tell me no, and then you want to giggle about it. And then your wife want to say, oh, I just want your money and this. And I don't give a shit. You understand? Then she want to say, oh, she's just jealous. Jealous of what? I left him. And he was cheating on me. I don't stay with cheats. So I'm not jealous of you because he's married you. Meanwhile, he cheated on her when they was married. Yeah, because I didn't want to. I didn't want him or his family to say, "Oh, I'm this disgruntled ex-girlfriend." Because you know how people used to be like, "Oh, she just jealous that he got married to somebody else and not to her." No, you can have him. By all means, you can have him. I'm not staying with a man like that. I don't care what he look like. I'm sorry. So I'm not jealous nor envious of you getting a ring of the problems that I'm trying to leave. No, I'm not. I'm not jealous, believe me. I'm not. I wasn't. Because when he broke up with me, he wasn't cheating on me with you. He was cheating on me with his other baby mother, soon to be. Because soon after I got pregnant, the girl we broke up for got pregnant too. So he had 2 kids in 1 year by 2 different baby mothers. She wanted to fight. I told her, you can have them. Soon after my son was born, and after her son was born, they broke up and he lost his job. Then years later, he met his wife, his new girlfriend that became his wife. So no, bitch, I was never jealous of you. Sorry. I know you want to live that fantasy, but I'm not. I don't want other people's men. And if a man cheat on me, that means he's now your man. You can have him. That's a strict rule. Why? Because of my stepfather. Because once they know that you know that they cheating, it's only going to get worse. So because of my stepfather, his nonsense, I never stayed with a man who I found out was cheating on me. Never, because it's only holding off the pain that you're going to suffer anyway. So I'm like, you know what? You can have him. My heart will mend eventually. You know, I'm not going to carry this on for another 2 years and then he go. Because he asked me, when I got pregnant, he asked me to, mind you, he had his other girlfriend. When he found out I was pregnant, he asked me to come back to me. I told him no. I said, you made your bed, now lie in it. I said, I'll handle the baby on my own. I said, I don't want no man coming back to me because I'm pregnant. I want a man to come back to me because he loves me. That may last longer than I'm coming back to you because you're pregnant. Because as soon as I had my son, he could have left me. And here I am being back in love with him and blah blah. I'm like, no, let me just cut it short right now. No, I'm not going back with you. And he got pissed off. Why? Because he never got no before. Because he's a very handsome guy. And stylish, and he knows how to dress and everything like that. Yup, very, very handsome guy. I told him no. The undumpsity of me, right? The audacity of me being pregnant and telling somebody, no, I don't want you. Yeah, because when you get cheated on and you know for sure that you put your best in, it hurts. So you're going through your process right there. Well, for me, I'm going through my process of hurt. I'm giving you chance after chance after chance, and you still cheat on me. So I have no other recourse than to leave. Because if I stay in there, you're just going to cheat worse. You understand? So I just cut my losses real quick. A lot of my ex-boyfriends say I don't have a heart, but I do have a heart. I have a heart that I don't want to continually have to mend over and over again because you find me unattractive anymore, or you just can't deal with me anymore, or you think the grass is greener, or she done did something to you that turned you out, and then when you find out she ain't shit, you want to come back running to me. No, I don't do that. Once you leave, I let you go, and I mend my heart myself. I don't want to prolong the life of a bad relationship. So that's why sometimes I had to cut some of my, and I turn around and I'm like, damn, I don't have no friends anymore. I don't have no family members. I'm losing my family. I'm losing my friends for stupid reasons. Like my cousin Nicole. Years ago, my friend Allison had this friend that I didn't know was trying to cheat with my cousin's Nicole boyfriend. I didn't know this girl from nowhere. Or did I? Oh yeah, I did know her. But we never hung out like that. It's through Allison I hung out with her. Her sister was a friend of my sister's. Keisha. She was trying to sleep with my cousin's boyfriend. I never knew that. I never knew that. I swear to God. Because Allison even said, you don't know who this is? I'm like, no. So my cousin found out that I'm hanging out with this girl, and it wasn't really hanging out. We all went to Miami, me and Allison and the whole crew, and she went with a different crew and all met up because that's Allison's crew. So my cousin was in Miami at the same time, saw all of us together, and ever since then, me and her had a bad relationship. I'm like, I didn't know. Why would I pick her over my cousin? I don't really know this girl. And ever since that, my cousin Nicole, she holds it against me. So one time I called my cousin because her husband is a contractor, because that's how they met. He's a contractor. So I was trying to give him some work, and she said, my husband has a job. And I said, oh, I thought his job was having his own contracting business, because I called her many times trying to give her husband some work for my house before I would call anybody, because I was trying to, help his small business. I'm thinking that I'm helping. She's thinking that I want free stuff done. That's my cousin Annie. Annie likes stuff being done for free, and she give you a plate of food. That's what she does. So Nicole is thinking I'm like Annie, who's gonna pay her husband don't want to pay her husband for work. No, even when he was here on a Christmas, he fixed my fridge because it wasn't giving ice. I offered to pay him. He told me no. And that was on the day he was here for Christmas. Everybody wanted ice, and I had the ice bucket, and I told my son to go get some ice and stuff. He said, "Well, you got an ice maker there." I said, "Oh, it's not working right now because it didn't click on me that he can do that, because he's a contractor." So I didn't know that he knew how to fix that fridge. He said, "Oh, me and Nicole have that same fridge in our house." I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Oh, let me try to fix it for you." And he fixed it. He went under somewhere. He went behind it somewhere, and he did whatever. I said, "Oh, how much I owe you?" He said, "Nah, we're family." I'm like, "Family or not, I like paying my." He said, "No, I don't have. You don't have to pay me for that. That was quick and easy." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Oh, I'm gonna call you for stuff that I need." So then, when I started really getting into my house, I noticed that my house needed some stuff. So I would call, and Nicole would be like, "Oh, he's not here. Or he's this and he's that." So one time I just came out, and I'm like, "What's your problem?" I said, "I'm just trying to give your husband some work in the house. Doesn't he have his own contracting business?" "No. My husband has a union job, thank you." Oh, she got all sedity with me, and I had to break it down to her. I'm like, "Listen, I'm thinking I'm trying to help a small business, and you thinking I want something for free. I'm not trying to get nothing for free. I would pay your husband. Well, he's busy and blah blah." And she gave me the whole rundown, and I gave her the whole rundown back at her. I don't want nothing for free from your husband, because I know how a family get with businesses and stuff like that. So anyway, Nicole, I wasn't trying to get nothing free from your husband. I was gonna pay him. I just was trying to call him first, so he won't say, "Oh, she knows that I do such and such. How come she ain't calling me?" I didn't want that, but instead it backlashed on me. So anyway, Stacy, you're an idiot. That's my sister, and you're supposed to be so smart. Have a good life. Bye.